If you guys know me, then you may have heard me speak out against witchcraft a lot. But today I want to tell you guys a story about how awesome Jesus is and my own experience with witchcraft and how God used it to bring me closer to Him. So about 5 years ago, I'd kind of hit the end of my rope. I went to California to get treatment for drug and alcohol addiction. And I end up at this house. It was a treatment center, but it's a small place. It was a really awesome place. And I go in and I'm looking around and they got all these crystals and they're saging the house and all this stuff. And a little bit into my stay there, they bring this shaman in. Like, this woman comes in and says she's a shaman, which would be she's a white lady, and like a shaman would be more of a Native American or more of a native medicine man type thing. But she comes in, she's like, we're going to do a vision quest, something along those lines, if you want to participate. And I didn't, but I did. So, I lay there on the floor. She covers up all our eyes with cloths and she puts this music on. It's a bunch of drums beating, a bunch of chanting going on. And like she's walking around spraying some kind of smoke. Maybe it was sage, I can't remember what it was, but she was doing her thing. And I could feel her over top of me, like not touching me, but like I knew she was over top of me, like her hands were close to me. And I went into a full trance. Like, I will never tell you that witchcraft isn't real, but what I will tell you is that it's not of God, and it's not from God. So, I come out of this trance, and this woman goes around and she's telling everybody what she saw and asking them what they saw, and everybody's got their story and whatnot, and she's kind of being standoffish towards me. And then after she talks to everybody else, she comes up to me. She's like, do you want to hear what I saw? And I was like, sure. So she pulls me to the side away from everybody. And she says, I saw more angels around you, protecting you, than anybody I've ever encountered in all my years of doing this. She said, did you see anything? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, will you share it with me? So I told her what I saw, and I'll share it with you guys. I was on the shoreline. I was standing on the beach with my dog. And just mind you, like, I'd been through Sunday school. I'd done the vacation Bible schools, the youth stuff when I was a kid in church. But in those classes, you don't go into Revelation in those classes. Like, you hear the stories about Jonah and the well and things like that, but in Jesus and his ministry and all the fun little stories that little kids hear. But there's nothing like depicting that revelation Jesus, like the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And so I really didn't have a lot of insight or understanding about what that was. So I'm standing on the shoreline with my dog, and off in the distance on the water, I see this man on a white horse riding on the water towards me. And he gets close to me and he says, you know who I am and you know where I'm from. Follow me. So me and my dog take off running, man. Like, we're trying to catch this horse, and I'm not as fast as a horse is. So we just can't catch it. We can't catch up. And I come out of the trance. And I tell her this, and I was like, I don't know who this man was. Like, who is he? And she says, what I want you to do is I want you to pray. I want you to meditate. And then, I'm right-handed. And she said, put a pen in your left hand and just start writing. Like, don't think about what you're writing, just write. So I went and did that, and what was written was the exact same thing that this man said. You know who I am and you know where I'm from. Follow me. So, I start doing investigation, man. I get into the Bible. I'm reading things because he had all the appearances of what I understood Jesus to look like. The beard, the hair, And he was wearing the same wardrobe, you know, the sandals, the sash, you know, and I flipped into Revelations right to the page where there's this description of Jesus with King of Kings, Lord of Lords on his leg. He's got a sword. The man had a sword in my vision, like the blood-stained garments, exactly like in my vision. And, you know, I was just like, wow, you know, maybe this was Jesus talking to me. But I didn't speak on it to anybody. Like I've only told, before this video, there's 4 people in my whole life that know about this, you know, because for some reason I still got this thing where I don't want to sound crazy to people, and, you know, I'm getting better with that, but this was real to me. So, you know, I held on this for years, and the reason I'm speaking on it today is because last week, you know, I've read through the Gospels, and this never stood out to me, but I had been praying for God to give me a sign. And I did that for a long time, and I realized, you know, Jesus is saying that the only reason you believe is because you have seen signs. Blessed is the one who believes without seeing signs. So I started changing my prayer, and I said, God, can you reveal to me the signs you have already given me? Like, help me to understand them, help me to recognize them. And, you know, last week we're doing a meeting for the ministry, and I'm just kind of flipping through Bible pages. And I'm in, you know, in the book of John, and I turned to John 7, verse 28, and it says, and Jesus replied to them, you know who I am, and you know where I'm from. And, I'm getting, you know, my hair is standing up right now talking about it, but, you know, this just, like, to me, it's like, man, Jesus met me in this place. I didn't know who he was, but he gave me an experience with him to tell me that if I follow him, if I go with him, I'm going to be okay, that I'm going to know who he is, I'm going to know where he's from, and to follow him to where he's going. And, you know, he's just made such an impact in my life. And you know, the reason I want to tell this story is for a couple things. Like, A, stop asking for God to show you signs. Believe. He's already given you a sign. Ask for him to help you understand, recognize, and reveal to you the signs he's already given you, because he's already spoken to you. Secondly, you know, witchcraft is real. This is not a video telling you to participate in it. Lay down the tarot cards, lay down the readings, like all that BS that you do, the astrology. Stop worshiping the created and start worshiping the creator. And thirdly, like, even in something that is not of God, that doesn't come from God, that is, you know, is demonic, Jesus is so powerful that he can use that wickedness and still reach a lost soul. Like, we got a good God. We got a God that understands what it's like to be human, because he reduced himself from his throne to take on flesh, so he knows what you feel like. He knows what you're going through. He's felt more pain than you have. Like, he's been mocked, he's been ridiculed, he's been spit on, he's been beaten, he's been tortured, like, he's been unalived. God understands what you're going through. He understands what it's like to lose a child. He understands everything that you might be feeling, everything that you might be experiencing. He knows what temptation is like, and he handled it perfectly, so he understands what you're going through. So rely on him. Like, don't rely on these other sources. We got such a good God. God loves you. Jesus is with you. You know who he is. You know where he's from. Just follow him.